Okay, I know it's illegal to have an opinion on the internet, but in my opinion, the Nintendo 3DS is one of the greatest consoles ever. I know, shoot me. Now, admittedly, my judgment is quite biased, because the Nintendo 3DS was my first ever console. The only other console I had even used before then was my sister's Nintendo DSi. But irregardless, I still think the Nintendo 3DS is a great system. As you could probably tell based off of the title, the Nintendo 3DS is turning 10 years old today. This is based off of the release date in Japan, not the release date in North America, which is March 27th, 2011. And some astute viewers may notice that I am using a Nintendo 3DS XL, which was released over a year later. To those people I say, what you gonna do about it? Exactly. Am I missing out on a later opportunity? Probably. Do I care? No. I personally have had a Nintendo 3DS since Christmas 2012. My 3DS still works just as well as it did on day one. Well, with the exception of features that were removed over time. The Nintendo 3DS just has that wonderful charm that you can only get on a Nintendo system. I mean, every single part just screams early 2010s Nintendo. Every single screen fills your ears with pleasant jingles. System settings, the eShop, which rotated music on occasion, heck, even the health and safety information page, all have background music. This is something I severely miss when I look at the Nintendo Switch. It just feels a bit less charming, more generic console feeling. The 3DS also really played around with the fact that it is a portable console. It had games that used the gyroscope to allow you to move in a virtual world by moving in the real world. A great example of this is built into the system with the game Face Raiders. In Face Raiders, you have to shoot down enemy faces by using the camera and gyroscope controls to look around the room. And normally I would be against motion controls, but Nintendo really must be the king of motion controls, because it manages to just feel natural and work. They rewarded being active by giving you play coins for walking around with your Nintendo 3DS in sleep mode. And these coins could be used to buy things in games, such as in Street Pass Mii Plaza, which rolls perfectly into our next feature, Street Pass. Street Pass, as the name somewhat implies, allows you to pick up nearby Nintendo 3DS players, and share game data and Miis between your systems. Street Pass Mii Plaza allowed you to play games with the Miis that you Street Passed, and if you had some of the same games as the people you Street Passed, you could get rewards in those games as well. There was also Nintendo Zone, which meant if you went to any Nintendo Zone, which was any participating location, my local McDonald's used to be one, you could get the Street Pass data of many different people using Nintendo Zone, essentially allowing you to Street Pass like 50 different people at once. Unfortunately though, Nintendo Zone was discontinued a few years ago, but it was a pretty cool concept to me. Used to, I could Street Pass someone just by going to the local Target, but now I struggle to Street Pass someone even if I'm going on a long road trip out of state. The Nintendo 3DS also experimented a little bit with augmented reality with the AR Cards game. You just plop down a card on a flat surface and point the camera at it, and voila, a very basic AR game. Now, admittedly, this was more of a gimmick than anything super in-depth, but it was cool to see Nintendo playing around with the limits of what the hardware could do. Also, I don't really know how to throw this in naturally, but the 3DS used to have this cool thing called Nintendo Video, which was kind of like YouTube, but with only 4 videos at a time that refreshed weekly. Every week, you would receive your videos, and you could even watch them in 3D if you wanted to. I know this doesn't sound exciting now, but trust me, it was so cool as a 6-year-old. Unfortunately, this service only lasted for a few years. And yes, of course, the 3DS made use of its 3D stereoscopic display. And did some pretty cool things with it too, but unfortunately, I can't show you it well on camera. And also, the 3D feature can be a bit rough on the eyes, so admittedly, I usually use my 3DS in 2D mode. So this is it, my passionate love letter to the Nintendo 3DS. A wonderfully quirky system with a whole bunch of unique games and ideas. I enjoy the 3DS so much that I still play it today, and I in fact bought a new game for my 3DS just a few months ago. I've been getting into rhythm games as of late, so I decided to buy Rhythm Heaven Megamix and Rhythm Thief for my 3DS, which are both great games if you have a 3DS and you enjoy rhythm games. Rhythm Thief is a criminally underrated game in my opinion. That was a bad joke, shouldn't have made it. A few of my favorite Nintendo 3DS games include Super Mario 3D Land, Mario Kart 7, Tomodachi Life, and does anyone else remember when advertisements for that were all over every single kid's channel? Miitopia, which is coming to the Nintendo Switch soon apparently, and the aforementioned games. Sorry if this video seems a little rushed. Because of my legendary time management skills, I'm recording this the weekend before I have Tech Week for a play I'm in, which basically means I'll be practicing for hours every day and then performing. So I had to squeeze this in between studying lines and a few other things. I just couldn't not make a video for the 10-year anniversary of the device that helped spark my love for video games. Thanks, Nintendo, you helped make some great memories.